All right. Are we all set now? Let's just make sure. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another stream on the old YouTube channel and Facebook. We're live on Facebook and 2 YouTube channels at the same time, you guys. How's everybody doing? Good morning to Arash, Victor, Max, Fabio, Pagani, Abel Fazil. If I mispronounce your name, it is nothing personal. I'm just not the best at pronouncing names from all over the world. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. Rustenberg says it's very hot in South Africa today. Is it really? From Namibia, what's up? Welcome. Good morning. Hello. How's everybody doing? Happy to have you guys back. You know, the coolest thing is when I see familiar names, people I recognize who hang out with us on the stream together all the time. So you guys are awesome for being here. Welcome back, and let's do some Forex together. Okay, so let's see what we can get into. So I want to do what we usually do, which is go through the currency heat map. We'll talk a bit about what is moving here. Let me see if I can get started here. Okay. So pretty interesting little currency heat map we got going on. Everything seems to be sort of faded right across the board. I mean, green and red. So kind of a weird look to the currency heat map here. It seems like our winners are going to be the New Zealand, the CAD, which I'm happy about, the Australian dollar, and then the rest seem to be pretty mixed, right? Kind of interesting how that's going on today. We've got these three at the bottom being our winners. I am currently long on the Canadian dollar, so I'm pretty happy about that. New Zealand seems to be outperforming the rest, though. We can see that the pound, which we talked about yesterday, doing a little bit of a hocus pocus dance back and forth. You can kind of see it's winning against the euro, the dollar, and the yen, but then not doing so hot against some of the super commodity currencies like New Zealand, CAD, and Aussie. So the CAD, the commodity currencies seem to be winning today. So interesting to see that. We'll go ahead and talk a bit more about some of these currencies in depth. Probably going to cover a little bit of the CAD and the New Zealand and Aussie today, just because those seem to be moving quite a bit. And yeah, we can go from there. Good morning to everyone in the chat. I do want to remind you guys, if you guys ever have questions, we have our very own Emily. She is happy to help you guys with any questions you have. The best way to contact her is to go to the website, and you can just go to the contact section. If you guys have any questions about the stream or our community or anything that we offer, that is the best way to get in contact with our team. Sometimes people ask how they can chat with me, and although I do try and do my best to answer messages, I receive a lot of them, and it's tough for me to really get back to people quickly. So the best way, if you have any questions or need help with anything, is to contact Emily on our contact page on the website, a1trading.com. By the way, you guys can check out this anytime you want, the currency heat map and a bunch of other free stuff on our site, as well as constant articles and publishings and things being put together there for you. So by all means, I invite you to come over to the site and use it for free. So let's look at some of these. We are going to come back to gold. Don't you worry, to my friends out there who love gold. We will get there. I want to give people a chance to get into the stream, because if I do gold too early, I already know there's going to be 20 people later on who say, do gold once the stream fills up a little bit more. So we're going to start somewhere else. We will come back to gold. And for those of you guys who stick around, you'll be able to see our coverage of gold sometime later. Okay. So let's start with the euro. We also should reiterate what's coming for those of you guys who haven't been watching the content or streams lately with me. We do have some important stuff this week, so let's look at it. We'll jump over here to forexfactory.com to take a look at the upcoming main events. And you can see we've got some stuff coming on Thursday. Now, today is going to be sort of our grace period. It is Wednesday, so things are not moving just yet. But we have some big preparation for the second half of the week coming in hot on Thursday and Friday. be on the lookout for GBP volatility starting tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. We've got some big monetary policy coming out for the Bank of England, and this almost certainly will have some volatility on the pound. So keep an eye on that. Be careful if you're trading pound pairs that you don't get caught in a mess. If you're a day trader, definitely be careful around big news like that. If you don't want to be caught in a big spike, it very well could happen, especially if the Bank of England comes out with something that is either very bullish or bearish for the outlook on the pound. Okay, so what I'm going to say is I don't know what's going to happen in the future with news, but I will say this. The thing to watch out for on the pound is last week we had some great bullish news for the Canadian dollar. The central bank in Canada came out and basically was like, hey, things are looking good enough that we might start to slow the process of printing money. As we know, printing money causes the value of a currency to go down. So when you have drastic change in the amount of printing, if that printing even diminishes by some, that could be very good for the Canadian dollar as opposed to other currencies, right? It's all a matter of trying to buy the currency that has the most potential relative to the other ones. So when we're looking at this with GBP news, watch out for what their statement is in terms of looking at monetary policy going forward. If things are very good for England and they come out and they say, hey, we're thinking about slowing down the printing press as well, that could be very bullish for pound pairs. On the flip side, if they say we're nowhere near that, then of course that could be bearish. So those are the things that we're going to be listening out for and watching for on the GBP pairs. Looks like my camera's doing that blurry thing that I was doing yesterday. Let's see if I can fix that. If I just do this, hopefully it's a little bit better. Still being a little bit blurry. Sorry about that, you guys. Pedro says, show us patterns. Don't you worry. We will get to the chart. But remember, if you watch my streams, everybody on YouTube talks just about technical analysis. It seems like the common thing is just to talk just charts and just patterns. But what is really moving these currency markets is stuff like this. Big news, big events, and looking for catalysts plus technical analysis, to me, is the combination that we're looking for. It brings both together. So anyways, the last thing I want to say on the Forex Factory side of things is that you've got CAD news and US dollar news coming in on Friday. So keep an eye on that. NFP could be a big mover for the US dollar. And then, of course, CAD unemployment also has potential impact on markets as well. So let's do this. We'll jump over to the charts now, and we will make this bigger so you guys can see. And then we'll look at some of this stuff here on the chart. So let's full screen this, and we will go from here. Okay, so I want to start with the euro dollar. Again, with NFP around the corner, the euro dollar has chances to move, whether it be higher or lower, but we are at a pretty key spot right where we currently are. You can see past support here coming into contact again and currently being tested by sellers. Sellers are seeing if it can break. If it can break, then it probably has room, in my view, to run down to the next levels. You've got short-term support here. You've also got a bigger level down here at 1.85. Okay. So that is the thing to pay attention to on the euro going forward. Khalid says, before you go to the charts, buy a new camera instead of a Lambo. Well, I don't have a Lambo. I'm not really a big fan of sports cars, but my camera is actually good. It just, for some reason, the autofocus lately has been weird. So hopefully we can get that to clear up a bit. Good morning to everyone in the chat, by the way. Just hello to everybody who's just now joining in. We are over on the charts now, taking a look at the Euro USD 4-hour chart and talking about what's moving here. Anybody trading the Euro right now? The Euro has been a bit of an interesting one. We were in this super strong uptrend. Price starting to break here and form, the breakout to the downside, but now testing a major level of support here on the pullback. Now, again, with NFP around the corner, the Euro is probably going to be a bit slow until the big news. Because again, if you're a trader on the euro right now and you're saying, well, I shorted up here and price is coming down and you're sitting there in this trade, you might say, with the big news coming around the corner, things could go right back up. I don't know where it's going, so maybe I'll just close out some profits. So we could see some profit taking on the euro, a little bit of flatlining here until the news. That is something that definitely could happen, but watch out for, the news having that catalyst that could push us higher. If, for example, the US dollar comes out very bearish and unemployment is worse than expected, that could send the euro to break through that high that we talked about right around here. On the flip side, if unemployment looks continuously better, which it has been doing well in the past, then we could see that cause the euro dollar to break this structure. If anything, I would imagine that the unemployment numbers would look good and that we could see more bearishness for the euro. I do think that the euro, although it has been trending up nicely, I don't think that trend is set to rally and continue. Now, of course, I can be wrong, and I'm not always right by any means in the markets, but my first reaction would say, okay, I'd be more on the interest of buying the dollar than buying the euro due to the nice vaccine rollout that's going on in the United States and the quicker GDP bounce back, as well as strong unemployment. Now, I think Europe is recovering as well, but I think it is doing so at a slower rate. And so in that case, have a little bit more interest in the US dollar than the euro. And people might be saying, well, Nick, but they're printing lots of US dollars to do stimulus and whatnot. But guys, the stimulus is happening around the world. ECB is printing, the Bank of Canada is printing, the Bank of Japan is printing, the US is printing. It is a matter of where are they, what economy is most likely to outperform. That is what we are trading here. We are not just, looking at chart patterns and just that's it, right? Chart patterns are a piece of it, but we are trading economies relative to one another. And so to me, it's important to keep an eye on the different factors that go into that. So with that said, Euro USD testing support today. If you're bullish on the euro, probably not the worst place to get long, just in terms of a pullback. I probably wouldn't do it. Like I said, more on the interest of sell side if I can get it. A setup that I really like is, if we get a break on the news, something like this could be a great move down to 1.185 and maybe even the prolonged move down to 1.17 that I think we definitely could get to sometime here in the future. So we just got 3 back-to-back requests, got silver, euro, New Zealand, and gold from our friends in the chat. So I will get to as many as I can, you guys, but I'm not going to be able to get to them all, unfortunately. So I'll do my best to get to as many as I can. I'm going to go through some of the ones that I wanted to cover first, and then whatever is left over, we will try and get to. But we will get to gold sometime here in the video. So just stick around and we will get there. No problem. Let's talk about the pound. The pound had some volatility recently, shot down and then rallied back right up from this zone. If you caught this trade, then congratulations. I talked about this earlier in the week. For the bulls on pound dollar, if you caught this low, then excellent, excellent, excellent. Very, very nice pullback to support and rallied right off of that level. I do think that we were probably headed higher, probably headed to this previous high here. Seems like the natural place for price to go after doing one of these, right? Back, forth, back, forth. The natural place for the market to go to me seems like path of least resistance is a move back up to 1.4. If that happens, watch for the trade setup that I've been on the back burner about with the pound dollar for a minute now, which is this concept here. Should price break through these levels? Something like that looks very interesting for a push or a breakout of this resistance level that we've been watching on the pound dollar. Okay. On the lower time frames, real quick, we'll jump to the 1 hour chart for my friends out there trading pound dollar on the lower time frames. You've got this level. You could even try and look for something like this. The breakout here could also be a short-term little play. Actually, a pretty good pip movement there if you do something like that. Should price decide to break out, you've got a nice little short-term uptrend. Things are looking good on the lower time frames, even for bulls on the pound dollar, at least in my opinion. If price were to break and retest, something like this gives you, what is that? Even 50 to 60 pips. So nothing. Not too shabby there, just playing that move up to 1.4. If you were to hold it all the way from here to 1.4, yeah, you're looking at almost 75 pips or so. So, very, very well could be a nice mover there. As always, you guys already know, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. There's the disclaimer at the bottom of the screen. I'm not here to give you financial advice or anything like that. I'm sharing my opinions, and I want you to do your own due diligence before you place any trades, because Forex is risky, just like anything else. And a lot of people get themselves in a lot of trouble because they treat this very stupid and they go all in on trades and they're trying to make quick money. And as you guys know, if you've been sticking around for the streams for the longer period of time here, then you already know trying to get rich quick is not the move. It's very, very tricky and a quick way to lose a lot of money. They say trying to get rich quick is a quick way to the poorhouse, right? All right, so that's pound dollar. We did euro dollar. Pound dollar has some pretty interesting bullish setups today. Looks pretty bullish to me. Let's see what else we can look at. We'll take a look at USD JPY, see if there's anything going on here. Nice little upward structure on dollar yen as well. And this one looks good to me for a potential breakout of this little structure here. Got some resistance. More resistance here. And yeah, pretty bullish on this pair as well. So this one has been one that I haven't really been trading as much because I've had some other currency pairs that I've been more favorable on. I'm pretty bullish on the pound and the CAD right now. The CAD has been pretty good to me. We'll see if that one can continue higher. But when I'm looking at dollar yen, nice technical uptrend and, in my opinion, some strong fundamentals to back this move higher. The Bank of Japan purposely trying to get their currency weaker. That's been something they've been struggling with for a long time now. But the Bank of Japan trying to weaken their currency, doing the best that they can. They have a negative interest rate. And so long as things continue to recover, I would say that this currency pair is just a bullish vessel. Now, again, I'm not always right. And I'm not here to tell you that this is absolutely going higher. But what I am telling you is that in my opinion, in my view, the dollar yen has plenty more upside for the rest of 2021. And so looking for good bullish setups with nice stop loss placements is the name of the game. So for me, that would look like something like this, maybe something, nice pullback there, pullback opportunities. And that's the name of the game. For me, how I like to trade is I like to trade breaks, retests, pullbacks, and watch for key breakouts. I don't really trade breakouts, but I love to trade retests and pullbacks. We have to fix the camera again. There we go. People still trade dollar yen? Of course people trade dollar yen. This is a great currency pair. You've got two major economies with some great fundamental differences that, really, I love currencies that are very different, right? When you have the pound versus the yen, the dollar versus the yen, they're very different economies and they have the potential to trend very strongly against one another. The chart's fuzzy. Is the chart fuzzy for anybody else? It shouldn't be. It might just be your internet. Could be. Dollar yen is my favorite pair. It's a good one. I really like the dollar yen. I find it a pretty clear currency pair. When it moves nicely, it really moves nicely, and there's some great moves on it. Especially recently, we've had some beautiful break and continuations. You can see, price here. It's a little bit tough to see, but there was some moves like this, right, where you got the breakout, retest, and just beautiful continuations. So the dollar yen, in my opinion, is a great currency pair to trade. I really, really like it. It's not for everybody. And again, everybody has their preferences, but it is one of my favorite currency pairs to trade, at least right now. It changes over time, but for the most part, dollar yen has been a long-term favorite of mine. Okay, cool. It's clear for you guys? Okay, good. Phil says, stop spamming. I'll put you in timeout if you carry on. You guys better watch out. Phil has the timeout ability, so you better not mess with Phil. Thanks for moderating, Phil. You're the best. All right. And to our other moderators who are here, thank you guys. So that's dollar yen. I think what we will do is we will get to gold. Don't you guys worry. But I want to take a look at dollar CAD. Somebody requested dollar CAD, and I wanted to look at this one earlier. This pair, you guys, is just dominating right now the sell side. And I bring back the point that we made a few weeks back, somebody said, hey, if price returns to the low, is that a great buy on the dollar CAD? And I said no, because the fundamentals here that have been impacting the dollar against the CAD are still very much alive. And again, this is the understanding of using fundamentals to your advantage. The thing is, you can, in my opinion, technicals are great, and there are people who trade and don't even pay attention to fundamentals, and I appreciate that. But understanding that this currency pair, basically in a summary, has been moving lower post-pandemic and probably will continue for some time, is most of what I need to know, right? This trend to the downside, yes, I guess you could just say, well, it's just, you just watch for the technical trend and go with that. But understanding why this is moving and why I would not be quick to jump on any sort of counter trend move here is because the CAD has been really, really recovering well with the rise in oil prices, right? Because their economy is heavily based on oil. It is also on the rise because they're a commodity-based economy, right? Where they do a lot of trade with the U.S. They do a lot, like I said, oil, right? So when they're bouncing back strongly with this whole pandemic, that looks like it could be a trend that could continue not for a week, not for a few days, but for possibly years, right? Possibly for months or years. So trying to fade this move, trying to buy the lows here and say, oh, it's at the bottom, it's got to reverse, is a tough game. Now, if the US dollar gets really strong and something fundamentally changes, then I don't mind adapting. But until that happens, the bias for me is just bearish until further notice. So when I look at this currency pair, I'm not quick to say, oh, it's bullish now. I am very much reluctant to say that until I see true signs of reversal. So when I'm looking at dollar CAD, I'm here on the daily chart, and I'm saying, okay, well, this thing is trending lower, looking for opportunities to sell. I've got a bunch of pink zones here where basically, I think that there were decent sells, beautiful sells here. This is where the Bank of Canada had its release. That was very bullish for the CAD. And so when I'm looking at this, like I said, I'm looking mostly for opportunities to get short more than anything. So like I said, when price came down to this previous low and somebody was saying, hey, is it a great buy here? I said, no, because the trend has been forming lower lows for a long time here, right? And trying to bet against that pattern is a tough game, right? Even if you weren't looking at fundamentals, just understanding that this thing is forming lower highs and lower lows is a fairly simple way to understand, okay, this thing has supply, or if another way of saying it is, the Canadian dollar has a lot of demand and continues to go stronger against the US, causing the USD CAD to go lower, right? So the big thing here is just going with the momentum, going with the train rather than trying to stop the train, right? At least how I look at the dollar CAD. And another one is, again, the CAD yen, which is super bullish and has just been making higher lows. People are saying, hey, is this thing time to fade? Is it time to sell the CAD yen because it's getting too high? And too high is just not necessarily the reality. Now, there is such thing as a market getting overbought or oversold, cheap or expensive, for sure, no question. It's just that it's very difficult to know exactly when that is. And even if you think that the CAD is overpriced, even if you think that, you can still be wrong because the market can just continue the natural trend, and you could be right, but you could get, slammed with some trades that go against you for a while before ultimately you are right. So that's why, in my opinion, it's just tough to trade against the trend. It's a very difficult task to do. But again, just my opinion there. People are saying they want to look at some euro pairs. So we will look at some euro pairs, and then we're going to take a look at gold. So my gold friends out there, stay with me. We're getting there. Hey, shout out to our friends following on Facebook. Very cool to see some people in the chat watching from the Facebook side of things. We've been trying to grow our Facebook, just putting more content on there for people who like Facebook over YouTube. But Big shout out to the people watching us on different places. Also to our friends watching us on the A1 Trading YouTube channel. Most of you guys are on the Trader Nick YouTube channel, but the second channel, which has a lot of stuff coming, we're planning out some new content with our new hire in person starting next week. Got some very, very fun and exciting stuff coming for the secondary channel. So if you're not already subscribed to A1 Trading on YouTube, make sure to head over there and subscribe. We're live over there right now as well, and you can get more content again for free in the future there. The cool thing about our business model is because we are able to make money from ad revenue, it helps to pay for the team. It helps to pay for the content that you guys see here and for free. So if you're enjoying the stream, do me a favor, wherever you are, smash that like button. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, do me a favor and just like the stream down below. It's free to do, and it helps us to continue to put out free content for you guys. Obviously, this takes up my time. It takes up my team's time, and it does cost us money. So if you enjoy this stream, if you enjoy this content, give it a thumbs up. It's free to do, and like I said, it helps us out. So with that said, I think on the CAD yen, I think it's just a tough thing to try and short this. I think it's tough to sell into strength or buy into weakness. It is definitely easier said than done. Victoria says, I couldn't find the new channel. Victoria, if you go on YouTube and you just search up A1 Trading, then you should be able to find it fairly quickly. Just scroll down. Another way to do it is if you go to my channel and you go to the home section and scroll down, it's connected to there as well. Let's look at gold. I think it's time. Well, actually, you know what? We're going to come to gold in just a moment. Hold off on that. Let's look at Euro Canadian now that we're talking about CAD pairs, and we'll cover the Euro as well. Okay. So, again, nice downtrend structure here as the CAD has been beaten out the Euro. The Euro had some strength here, a little bit of a rebound, and found resistance. Sellers basically sold into that opportunity there and continued this thing lower. This is the daily chart. Let's look at the 4-hour chart because I want to show you guys. So again, we asked the question, now that we're at the lows, is this thing a buy? And I don't know. I'm not here to tell you like, oh, it's definitely not a buy and it's definitely going lower. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm just saying that you have to be careful. Just because a chart looks low or just because it seems like it's sold off quite a bit and it's got a reverse, it doesn't necessarily, right? Because as long as the Euro continues to underperform the CAD, we would expect this thing to go lower. If you expect the Euro to outperform the CAD, then, maybe there's an argument for that. But even in that case, for me, what that would mean, let's say I did want to buy the Euro. What I'd be looking for is something like this. Show me signs of strength. Give me a clue that you want to go higher before I try and just buy just because it seems low. This is momentum right now. Sellers are in control of this market. And so just because it is at a low point does not necessarily mean it is the low. Price very well could shoot past this and start trending lower. So if scenario one happens, then yeah, maybe I can look for some bullish opportunities. But I think most likely the natural flow is for this trend to continue, not to reverse. If it does reverse, then we change directions. We look for opportunities. So long as the fundamentals line up for me, I might be looking for bullish scenarios against the CAD. But again, it's very, very, you got to be careful. Buy the low, sell the high, baby. I wish it was that easy. It is, it's a little bit trickier than that. The thing is about buy low, sell high. Is this the low? That's the question. You say, okay, buy low. Is this the low? It could be. It definitely could be. I'm not saying it's definitely not. I'm just saying betting that this is the low when the natural flow of this market is down is very tough. I'll give you guys an example. If you were to say buy low, sell high on Bitcoin, you'd probably be a puddle of tears, right? Or even better, we'll look at the most crazy one recently, which is Ethereum. Ethereum, if you were to try and say, okay, I bought low, I sold high, okay, let me sell high. If you were to sell here, That, maybe it is the high. But right here, is this the high? Nope, kept going. Is this the high? Maybe for short term, but it ultimately kept going. But again, let's look at these moves. Let's say, we're looking at this chart. Forget that it's Ethereum, that it's not a currency pair. Let's look at this and objectively ask ourselves some questions. We're in a strong uptrend. It's pretty obvious that we are, right? Let's look at the opportunities for buyers versus sellers. Let's look at the opportunities for buyers first. Okay, if you're a buyer and you're riding this trend, there's a great move for you. A move there for you. And a move, well, actually, let's split this into two. A move here for you and a move here for you, right? Now, visualize that distance, all those opportunities for buyers, and let's look at sellers for a second. Here's your selling opportunity. Selling opportunity. If you're trying to short this thing, you tell me which one looks like it has more opportunity. Which one seems like it's easier to make money in? Is it the blue, the buyers, or the sellers? Definitely, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys are looking at the chart differently than me, but to me, this just seems like I want to be a buyer. I don't want to be a seller. I don't want to be shorting in this because every short opportunity gets crushed, right? Victoria is the smart one for the day, saying blue. Victoria, I'm with you on that one. Definitely easier to be in that blue. Looking for the trend continuation just seems to be the path of least resistance on a lot of different markets. Doesn't matter if it's currencies, crypto, stocks, commodities, bonds. I like to be with the momentum, with the trend, because the opportunities just come and they are more fruitful than trying to sell the high or buy the low. To me, yes, this market is trending higher. And yes, I'm not buying the low, but I'd rather be buying with the momentum, going with the direction, than trying to short everything. Wow 360 says, red, I like the tough way. Well, at least you're honest with it, right? Gain your skills to sell the red. And again, the thing is, it's just tough to tell when the end of the blue really is, right? So when you have these uptrends, how do you know exactly when the top is? You could have argued, hey, it looks like it's topping here. It's topping here. It's topping here. Oh, finally it topped there. And even when it did top, the seller rally was not even that impressive, right? So it's just understanding. Same thing with dollar CAD. Right? We can do the exact same thing on a currency pair here. Look at this. So this time, do you want to be a seller or a buyer? Well, if you're a seller, let's look at the moves. There's some selling move, selling move, selling move, selling move, selling move, selling move. Let's look at the buyers. Buyers had this move. They had this move, this move, this move, this move. Again, you can kind of see the story plays out where if you're a seller going with that trend, your moves are great, big movements to the downside, and the wind is in your sail. When you're fighting an uphill battle, when you're trying to fight this move. So this is my opinion, this is my outlook or philosophy on trading, is just going where the path of least resistance is. So when I'm looking at this, when I'm looking at CAD, dollar CAD, back to where we were at, looking at Euro CAD and dollar CAD, I'm looking for sell opportunities more so than buying, because even if the buying does happen here, I just think that the rally is just not as fruitful as the continuation lower. So for me, that's where I'd be looking to sell, trying to go with this market more than anything. Because if I'm right, seems like there's a lot of opportunity. And if I'm wrong, it's not the end of the world. Victor, what's up with the DKK 17 with the Danish krone? Thank you very much, Victor, for the donation. Supporting the stream here. You're the best. I just shorted EuroCAD, plus you deserve the best offer. Thank you so much, Victor. That's very nice of you. We'll take a look at EuroCAD one more time for you, just to look at this. So EuroCAD on the short side. So again, like I said, momentum here to the downside pretty much seems more likely. However, I will just say this, Victor, I'm not, if you took the trade and you have your own reasons, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your account. I think that it's a little bit, it is still at a level of support. We will see if this one holds or not. But currently where we're at, we are at a support level. So it does seem like at some point we could see some sort of a bounce here on the dollar, on the euro CAD. Maybe it rallies, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just breaks right through. But for me, the ideal situation where I'd be looking if I was to short euro CAD, which is a currency pair that I like to trade, would be something like this. If we got a pullback. So as long as your stop is in place and you have a reason for entry, then by all means do you. My favorite trade setup on the euro CAD would probably be a retracement up to this point, which also seems to line up with a nice fib. So let's see if we can get a fib on there as well. Yeah, so that 38.2 looks very interesting. 38.2 to the 50% retracement. That'd be where I'd be most interested. But thank you very much again, Victor, for the donation. It means a lot and definitely helps to support this, the content that you guys see. Thanks so much. All right, so I think it's time, you guys. I think it's finally time for our gold traders out there, you freaks that love gold so much. We'll take a look at it. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys trade gold? Put a yes or no in the chat whether or not you trade gold or not. And we will discuss this one, which is probably, I'm going to say probably pound, dollar, and gold are the two most popular markets that we cover here on the streams. So let's look at gold and we will talk about this. Okay, thank you guys for your feedback. Some yeses, some nos, a little bit of a mixed opinion. So let's look at gold. You guys already know the gold traders out there. Gold traders are probably the craziest of the bunch. So I'm calling you guys out. If you're a gold trader, might be a little psycho. I'm kidding. You guys aren't psycho, but people who trade their gold, they love trading their gold. So it's almost like a cult even. Let's look at gold. So looking at the 4-hour chart, nice little uptrend here, higher lows being formed. And I've covered this a few times recently where I think that gold does have, well, right now it's definitely just in a range. Like where we are at with gold, it completely makes sense that it is in a range. Why? Because you have unemployment data coming out for the US on Friday, which will likely move this market substantially, or it has the potential to. So a lot of times traders, they will consolidate, they'll take profits, and they won't take huge positions until after the news. So when the news comes out, that could send gold going higher, or it could send it going lower. We don't know what the news is going to be. However, the general trend here seems to be up here on the lower time frames, but I'm not super bullish on gold. I have mentioned that short-term targets, I do think that price could head up to 1810. I've been saying that for a minute now. Ever since we sort of broke out of this level, I basically said, I think that a next natural place for gold to head would be up to 1810, which is this level in pink up here. If price does get bullish enough to break through this range, probably headed up there. But again, you've got news coming out, which is going to be impactful to the price of gold relative to the US dollar on Friday. In terms of this this overall thing, the COT reports for gold, though, not super bullish. They've actually been pretty bearish. In fact, you can go check out the COT report on the website if you'd like. But gold has been pretty interesting with the COT reports being pretty negative, meaning that institutional traders seem to be selling this thing more than buying it. And so as we drift higher, to me, there comes a point where there's probably some opportunities for sell side action on gold, maybe even a move back at some point to the previous low. My outlook on gold is not incredibly bullish for the rest of 2021. In 2020, I was pretty bullish on gold because of the fear that was going on in the world. You had a lot of panic and a lot of people afraid of hyperinflation and scary stuff like that with the whole world going through a pandemic. Well, we've sort of shifted. Things have been starting to look even more and more better, or more and more positive in the world. And so when I'm looking at gold, I don't have a huge interest. I don't think that there's that driving force of uncertainty. That is the thing that really can cause gold to do so well, like in here, where you just had this like looming uncertainty about central banks and economies, and people really bought gold heavily during this time. So now we can see all the rallies on gold have basically been sold into. And so for me, looking at gold, I think that the next rally is probably still a sell setup. So for me, I think short term with this uptrend, there is some bullishness here, but I do think at some point that the trend to the downside could prevail and we could see markets roll over here on gold, especially with low COT interest from big institutional traders. Institutions drive prices. They are the biggest biggest speculators on price for the future on things like gold, the euro, all of that. And so when you don't see price being bought up aggressively by institutions, that is a little bit concerning for bullish theories. So looking at, look at this, we get some of the Bitcoin scammers in the Facebook. Don't send any Bitcoin to anybody, you guys. I'm blocking these accounts. All right, so look at this. Now we got more people doing this whole thing. Don't ruin the stream for us. Don't be like that. Boo, boo scammers. Nobody likes you. All right, so yeah, so that's my thought on gold is I think like short term has more upside. Okay, this is getting annoying. Okay, well, it's blocked now. Wow, 360 says, Nick, intraday trading or day trading? They're the same thing. So day trading and intraday trading, if you're talking about scalping, that's a little bit different. Ish says, earn honest money, please. Yeah, for real, man. Scammers are so annoying. Get a life. Quit stealing other people's money. Go get your own. Everybody else is out here working hard for their money, and then you got scammers who are just sitting there trying to steal somebody's unsuspecting money away from them. Lame. Swing trading or day trading? I'm a swing trader. I do not day trade very often. What I like to do is I like to look at the bigger moves in the market and try and capture pieces of them. Day trading for me is it's not that day trading is wrong. Like plenty of people day trade and that's fine. I just like swing trading because it requires a little bit less time to enter and exit positions, and I can catch something and go to sleep. And by the time it's I wake up, it's moved another, 100 pips during the London session, right? So I like that aspect of trading. So with that said, I think I'm going to wrap it up today, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. That's about everything I wanted to cover. We went through most of the markets and talked about gold as well. Do me a favor. If you enjoyed this stream, make sure to like down below. And hey, if you want to join our private group, there is a link down below in the description. If you have any interest in trading alongside myself, every trade that I take, I share with members inside of our private group. What I'll do is I will pop up the thing on the bottom of the screen if you want information. There we go. So inside of the private group, I share all of my trades. We do live webinars where Joe, he's one of our coaches inside of the group. He does coaching webinars where he answers people's questions and does all sorts of lessons and stuff for members based on what they need help with. And then we also have an educational and strategy library. So my strategy written out in like PDF form. And then there's chat rooms where you can meet other traders and all sorts of stuff. There's a link down below in the description with information, and there's a promo code that you can use to get a discount on your membership should you decide to join. So check that out. Read up on it. Of course, if you're interested, maybe now or in the future, just read through the different things that we have available inside of the group. And I definitely encourage you to give it a try, at least for a month. I think that you will not be disappointed and you will probably gain a lot more than your money's worth. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to today's stream. Like I said, hope to see some of you guys inside of the private group if you're not already in there with us. And if you are a VIP member, then shout out to you guys. So thanks so much, guys, for tuning into today's stream. I hope you got something out of it. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe and come back tomorrow. We do these Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. U.S. Eastern. So big shout out to all of you guys who made it today. And thanks so much. We'll see you back in the next video.